Hello, and welcome to Symphony's PeopleSoft Visioning Series. Our visioning sessions are geared to the more advanced modules and functionality of PeopleSoft. Today's session is focused on succession planning. Your hosts today are Gary Smith, who's Director of ERP Operations at Symphony, and I'm Harry Matlitsky, an ERP Account Executive. Between Gary and myself, we have over 40 years experience with PeopleSoft and have both worked for PeopleSoft within our careers. We are hoping that our visioning will get you thinking beyond human resources and to think about the big picture of human capital management. When you start thinking big picture and take advantage of more of the application's features, the return on your organization's investments is magnified. Please note the two links on this slide. To viewing the videos and presentation on Symphony's Visioning Series, go to tinyurl.com/PeopleSoft Vision. To view the graphic, which shows in detail the integration of the modules of the PeopleSoft Human Capital Management, go to tinyurl.com/PeopleSoft Graphic. When contemplating the use of succession planning, there are three areas that need to be considered: configuration, end use, and maintenance. With configuration, we need to assess what it would take to configure the module and if there is data that would need to be converted. End use. What are the requirements of the users? And this would include all levels of management. Maintenance. Once the module is configured and is live, what will be the level of effort to support and maintain the application? I'll now turn the presentation over to Gary, who will discuss in detail the points regarding succession planning.
Thank you, Gary. Some of the key guiding questions that you really want to look at are: have you identified which are those key positions and the key employees that you really want to track as part of your succession plan? If this process has already been started, that will obviously make the project go a little bit faster, but it is critical that that effort is taken before you start, because it doesn't really make any sense to even start configuration of this module until you have identified what you want to do and which positions. The other thing is your profiles. Profiles are critical to doing succession planning, and there are two different types of profiles. It's the person and the non-person profiles that you would need to have set up. The persons would be, for each employee, what their different skills and competencies and different ratings and rankings that they have, as well as for that key position, you would have a non-person profile that says what you're looking for, what is the perfect candidate for that. And you need to have those all established before you can really get the succession planning module off the ground. Have you started career planning? If you're using that, that also will aid you in the rollout of succession planning. It's not necessary, but it would help if you do have that module already rolled out. And then your rating criteria, you need to make sure that's established. That should be established when you build your profiles, but you also have ratings for your different comparisons that you're going to use when comparing the different candidates in your talent pool. Some of the key considerations, again, are, what's the impact going to be to your administration of this module and your administrators? How are they going to handle that? Manager self-service, how are you going to roll that out to the people who are going to need to manage not only their succession plans and their talent pools, but also the employees so they can manage their own profiles? And again, how are you going to roll this out? That's very critical to be, those decisions need to be made before you do it. Am I going to roll out maybe my first upper level or 2 or 3 levels of management? How am I going to roll that out? Maybe in one division. Again, there's no right way or wrong way, but it needs to be decided before you really focus on getting this module rolled out. Configuration. So again, planning. Planning is very, very important. How are you going to roll this out? Which positions do you want to do? A small? Are you going to do like a big rollout? Again, no right or wrong answer to that, but again, you must have that determined before you do that so you can have your timing and your planning done. You have to identify those key positions or key job codes that you're going to be using, and then also the key employees, because their information those profile information have to be completed. The ratings have to be defined for all the competencies, and the ratings have to be defined for how you're going to compare the various candidates. And then you have to go in and start configuring and creating those succession plans, the ones that you are going to roll out. Some of the pitfalls that you need to be aware of is, again, managing those succession plans, the various employees and managers who are in those key positions, and then, of course, managing those profiles and keeping those up to date. Another key component is the profile and the catalog. Content catalog is where you define all of your different skills, etc., that you're going to track, education that is important to your organization and that you want to track against the positions and against your employees. And that can be a pretty big effort to get that done. End use. This is really who is going to use this. So again, which positions are you going to be focusing on first? Usually succession planning, again, is recommended that you roll it out in a phased approach. Concentrating on those key positions first that you're most critical to your organization. But you, again, have to focus on getting the employee information on their profiles up to date. Otherwise, you can't really do it, because how can you compare people if they don't have their information? The other issue as well is a lot of times it might be a very senior position, a C-level, and is that executive actually going to be managing their own succession plan and training and getting time for them to actually learn how to manage that plan needs to be incorporated into the rollout, or to an administrator who's going to be doing it for them. You're going to be managing those succession plans. That also means that you're going to be managing those talent pools. The talent pool is what you do when you're identifying candidates for that key position that you're creating a succession plan for. You also have to make a decision: are you going to just be using internal, or do you want to track external? And if you're tracking external, that can add a little bit of complexity too, just because you now have to track profiles for applicants as well. And then again, the how, very, very important. How are you going to administer this? Who's going to administer the overall succession plans? How are they going to be managed? And you also have to make sure that you have this buy-in from the key managers who are going to be actually responsible for this. Because again, if you don't get them to buy into this, it's not going to really be successful. The last piece is, how do you maintain this after you have rolled it out? Again, the key is maintaining the profiles, keeping those up to date. And again, that is also making your employees do that too. Part of that definition on profiles is also, do you need to approve? Do you have workflows? There's a lot of decisions that need to be made on those profiles. Making sure those career plans are kept up to date and maintained by those key management positions. And then again, normally this is a phased rollout, so when are you going to do the next rollout, and how do you plan and time that, and also plan your training when you're going to be rolling out the next level or the next group of management positions. So that's all comes into consideration. Another thing is that you also could think about is, are you integrating to recruiting, or are you integrating into learning management? If you happen to have those particular modules active, there has to be some consideration and also some administration that needs to be done as far as keeping those up to date. This concludes the PeopleSoft Visioning series for succession planning. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact either Harry or myself, and thank you for taking the time out to listen and view. Thank you.